Hey, the name of our lesson is called Represent. We're going to look at 3 different ways to graph data. The first one we're going to talk about is called stem and leaf plots. From there we're going to look at something called data plots, and then the last thing we're going to look at is something called a histogram. A stem and leaf plot arranges data by dividing each data value into 2 parts. The leaf, which is the last digit, and the stem, which is the digit or the digits other than the last digit. Our data is going to come from the statement: the number of rushing yards completed by a running back on a professional football team in each of 16 regular season games is given. Use the data to make a stem and leaf plot with a title and a key. Guys, we're going to call our title Rushing Yards. We're going to put our stem column on the left and our leaves column on the right. Now, the one thing we need to do to see what our stem is going to be, we look for the smallest largest number in the data. The smallest number is 32 and the largest is going to be 98. So therefore, our stem is going to consist of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Need to bring my table down just a little bit farther. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and find all of my leads. We look for the numbers that begin with 3, 32. So I'll put a 2 there for my leads, okay? Then I look for numbers that have a stem of 4, 43, and 48. We will put the 3 first, then the 8 second. We will look for numbers that have a number 5 as the leading number: 52, 54, 57, and 54. We will list these in ascending order: 2, 4, 4, and 7. Then we will look for numbers that begin with the number 6, 65, and 68. 5 will come first, then the 8 will come second. Then we will look for numbers that begin with 7, 74, 73, 78, 72. We will start with 72. Then we will go to 73, 78, 77, then 78. We will look for numbers that begin with an 8. The only one is 83. And then we will finish up with numbers that begin with the number 9, 96, and 98. Now, the last thing we need to do is we need to make a key. Our key, we begin with something that looks like absolute value brackets. We put the stem inside the brackets, 2 on the outside, and what this means is 32. Stem and leaf plot. A data plot is a graph that shows discrete data, or data that can be counted, are distributed on a number line. Dot plots are best used to organize and display data sets with small number data points. Example: a basketball coach compared the heights of the opposing basketball team to his team was to play next in the tournament. Construct a dot plot to represent the data. What we're going to do is each one piece of our data, we're going to place an X for that number. We will stack when we have more than one of the same pieces of data. We will go to 69, 67. We will do another 69 right on top of this one. We will go to 72, 71, 66, and 67. Guys, it's almost symmetrical, which means he's got a good breakup of small and large players. A dot plot is just representing numbers on the number line with X's. The last thing is called a histogram. A histogram is a graphical way to display quantitative data using vertical bars. The width of the bar in a histogram represents an interval of data instead of individual data values, and is known as a bin. The height of each bar indicates the frequency or the number of values in the bin. Histograms are best at displaying data in large amounts of continuous data. Guys, an example. A histogram we have here represents the number of students, the number of hours they spend playing video games on the weekend. If we look here, 2 players play from 0 to 5 hours a week, and as many as 9 play from 20 to 25 hours per weekend. Now, to make a histogram, find the differences in the greatest and the least values, decide on the number of intervals, make a frequency table, and use the frequency table to create the histogram. Draw each bar to the corresponding frequency value. Now, I've taken some shortcuts on this to get through this lesson, but it is going to be the number of calls per day to a fire and rescue service for 3 weeks is given below. Use the data to complete the frequency table. Guys, if we look here for 21 days, we had these many calls, okay? If we notice 0 to 3 happened at a frequency of 6 times, 4 to 7 calls per day happened 4 times, and so forth and so on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to represent this information by using something called a bin. This is going to be frequency, and this is going to be the number of calls. Now, if we look here, 0 to 3 happened at a frequency of 6. So starting at 6, I will go over and make a bin going all the way to 3. I'm going to shade in to represent all the data that we collected from this area. Get it up a little. Okay. Then, I'm going to change colors. I'm going to show from 4 to 7 happened at a frequency of 4 times. Now, from there, 8 to 11 calls happened at a frequency of 3 times. Next, we're going to show that 12 to 15 calls per day happened at a frequency of 4 times. So trying to keep it even. I'm going to shade. And then our last 16 to 19 calls a day happen from 16 to 19. Happened at a frequency of 4. Okay, today I hope you can take away from what we've done today. We looked at 3 different ways to graph data. One was a stem and leaf, second one was the data plot, and the last one was called a histogram. Thank you and good luck to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.